In the late 19th century, in the quiet countryside of Honey Grove, Texas, there lived a young man named Henry Ziegland. By all accounts, Henry was handsome, charming, and ambitious, the kind of man who drew admiration from both friends and suitors. Among those who loved him deeply was a young woman whose name history has not preserved, but whose tragic fate would forever entwine with his. Around 1883, Henry decided to end his relationship with the young woman. The reasons remain uncertain. Perhaps he grew restless, or perhaps he simply wished for freedom. Whatever his motives, his decision struck the girl with unbearable grief. Heartbroken and inconsolable, she took her own life soon after. When her brother learned what had happened, grief turned to rage. He blamed Henry Ziegland for his sister's death and vowed to avenge her. One day, he found Ziegland on a country road near his home. Trembling with fury, he raised his pistol, took aim, and fired. Henry fell to the ground, and the brother, convinced that justice had been served, turned the gun on himself and took his own life. But fate had other plans. Ziegland was not dead. The bullet had merely grazed his cheek, embedding itself in the trunk of a nearby tree instead of his skull. When he came to, bleeding but alive, Henry realized how close he had come to death. He must have thought himself one of the luckiest men alive, spared by inches from the grave. Life went on. Years passed. The memory of that terrible event faded into the background of Ziegland's prosperous life. He built a farm, grew older, and likely told his near-death story more than once, always with a wry smile at his miraculous luck. 2 decades later, around the turn of the century, the very tree that had caught the bullet still stood tall on Ziegland's property. By then it had grown large and difficult to fell. Ziegland, wanting to clear the land, decided to cut it down. But when he saw how deep the trunk had grown and how much effort it would take, he chose an easier way: dynamite. He drilled a few holes into the base of the tree, placed the explosives, and lit the fuse. Ziegland stepped back, confident that the blast would make quick work of the stubborn wood.
Moments later, the explosion thundered across the field. The tree splintered, and the long-forgotten bullet, still lodged within the trunk after all those years, was hurled out by the force of the blast. The projectile struck Ziegland in the head, killing him instantly. The same bullet, it was said, that had been fired at him decades before. The unyielding hand of fate. Whether or not every detail of the tale is true has been debated for over a century. Some historians suggest the story is an American folk legend, passed down through newspapers and word of mouth, embellished with each telling. Yet its moral endures, that fate, once set in motion, cannot be escaped. Henry Ziegland's story became a haunting symbol of destiny, a chilling reminder that sometimes, even when we think we've outsmarted death, it may only be waiting for the right moment to finish what it began.